If you are putting out good content, then your employees should be listening to every word you utter. Hey there, it's Eric J. Olson. Obviously, we have a podcast here at Array Digital and also at our sister company, Rival Digital. The podcast that you're listening to right now, Journey to $100 million, is where the two founders of both companies, myself and Kevin, have a daily podcast where we talk about all of the things that we're doing in the company and all of our thoughts on how we want the company to run and our strategies going forward. There is very little actually that we hold back from this podcast. If you're a listener of the podcast or if you watch the podcast on YouTube, you're getting 90, maybe 95% of all of the things that we feel like need to happen or should be happening or will be happening at our two companies. If you're an employee here, I would strongly recommend that you listen to what we're doing, right? To this podcast. Like, we are providing super valuable information on this podcast. And the thing is, like, if I say something here, if I have some inspiration or a vision for the future that I give to the whole world, I may not repeat that in a private setting in a company conversation because I've already told the whole world. Everybody knows. But if you don't listen, if you don't watch, if you're not involved in the podcast, you're going to be behind. So I've told my staff that many, many times. I really encourage you to listen to this podcast. I encourage you to watch the videos. I encourage you to listen to what Kevin and I are saying on a daily basis because this is meaningful. There's not a lot of opportunities in corporate America where you can listen to your boss, the company owner, or someone, that has some ability to affect the company where they're telling you exactly what they want to do. So if you are in a company, if you're running a company, this podcast has been fantastic for us for many, many reasons. But one is that we can communicate our vision not only to our employees, but we can crystallize that vision ourselves. Because the moment you say it, you start to really think about, is this what we really want? There's been many times where Kevin and I have done an episode and the other person has listened to it, or even the same person has listened to it, whoever recorded it, listened to it. And it's like, no, we don't exactly do that. And we'll change the way that we do things to make it align with what we said in the podcast. Because the podcast is what we want reality to reflect. Reality may be a little bit different. So if you run a business, then I highly encourage you to have some sort of series like this podcast where you communicate not only to the world, but to your employees, your vision of the company. And if you work at a company, I highly encourage you to listen to anything that the managers, bosses, owners are putting out on social media. You need to follow them. You really should have an alert that goes off every time they tweet, post on Instagram. You should know what's going on because the whole world finds out about these things. You're on the inside. Don't be on the inside and not have all the information. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.